The empire, long divided, must unite. Long united, must divide. Thus it has ever been. In the dying days of the Han dynasty, the empire was like a precious vase knocked off its pedestal. As it fell towards the ground, some refused to accept the inevitable and imagined that the worst had passed. The more far-sighted positioned themselves to pick up the pieces. China had been plagued for years by peasant revolts. While the commoners languished in poverty, the emperor's eunuch servants only enriched themselves, with each corrupt act and every extortion thinly veiled as a tax. More angry peasants crossed the line into open rebellion. Like streams joining together in a mighty river, hundreds of thousands of rebels flocked to the Yellow Turban's banner. Their leader was a man named Zhang Jue, a cultist who could summon storms and shadow warriors to do his bidding. Yet in empowering the warlords to deal with the rebellion, the emperor set the stage for a power struggle that would tear the country apart. Dong Zhuo, a warlord from the western frontier, used the turmoil to capture the capital of Luoyang. Under the guise of restoring order, he usurped the throne and turned the emperor into a puppet. An alliance soon formed to topple him, and among its ranks was Sun Jian. Though he could trace his lineage back to the legendary Sun Tzu, author of The Art of War, Sun Jian was a man of modest means. His master Yuan Shao and the other alliance leaders viewed him and his clan as little more than peasants. Yet, what Sun Jian lacked in power, he made up for in ambition and ingenuity. At the age of 17, he had scattered a bandit force by waving his arms and pretending to give orders to a hidden army. Now, in another display of bravery that impressed even Yuan Shao, Sun Jian volunteered to lead the charge on the capital. With his young sons Sun Ce and Sun Quan in tow, he set out to make a name for himself. As they hacked away at the Han dynasty's fragile foundations, the Yellow Turbans tore China apart. Yet in empowering the warlords to deal with the rebellion, the emperor set the stage for a power struggle that would tear the country apart. Dong Zhuo, a warlord from the western frontier, used the turmoil to capture the capital of Luoyang. Under the guise of restoring order, he usurped the throne and turned the emperor into a puppet. An alliance soon formed to topple him, and among its ranks was Sun Jian. Though he could trace his lineage back to the legendary Sun Tzu, author of The Art of War, Sun Jian was a man of modest means. His master Yuan Shao and the other alliance leaders viewed him and his clan as little more than peasants. Yet, what Sun Jian lacked in power, he made up for in ambition and ingenuity. At the age of 17, he had scattered a bandit force by waving his arms and pretending to give orders to a hidden army. Now, in another display of bravery that impressed even Yuan Shao, Sun Jian volunteered to lead the charge on the capital. With his young sons Sun Ce and Sun Quan in tow, he set out to make a name for himself. Dong Zhuo abandoned Luoyang, reducing the once magnificent capital to a smoldering husk in the process. The fearsome commander Cao Cao pursued the tyrant, but it fell to Sun Jian to put out the fires raging across the city. As darkness fell over the battered victors, smoke shrouded the streets. Not even the emperor's star could be seen through the misty veil. And yet, a light appeared in the darkness. From an abandoned well near Sun Jian's camp, a brightness shone into the sky. At the bottom of the well lay a dead woman, clutching an artifact made of the purest jade. Sun Jian could not believe his eyes. It was the Imperial Seal, the physical manifestation of the mandate of heaven, the Emperor's divine right to rule, and now it was his. Sun Jian read this as a sign from heaven that his clan was destined for greatness. Together with his sons, he rushed home before anyone could take the treasure from him. Yuan Shao was furious when he found their camp abandoned. He ordered the warlord Liu Biao to stop Sun Jian and return the seal. As Liu Biao gave chase, Sun Jian was separated from his two sons and surrounded by hostile riders. A tense exchange of words turned into a bloody fight, and Sun Jian, the hero of Luoyang, was slain. Yet, no matter how hard Liu Biao searched, the Imperial Seal was nowhere to be found. Further ahead, Sun Ce and his little brother Sun Quan rode swiftly through the darkness. Tears streamed down Sun Ce's cheeks as he cradled the heavy artifact in his arms. Liu Biao had sown the seeds of his own demise by killing Sun Jian. As the two Sun brothers grew up, they tended those seeds carefully. One day, they would pick the fruit from that tree of vengeance. But for now, Sun Ce could do little. As the new leader of his clan, he was returning home with neither an army nor lands to rule. To exact revenge on Liu Biao, he would first need to build up his power base. The Imperial Seal was a priceless artifact, but keeping it was like painting a target on your back. Warlords and bandits alike were eager to get their hands on it. Better then to make use of it and pass the target on to someone else. Sun Ce agreed to trade the seal to his father's old master Yuan Shao in exchange for 3,000 experienced soldiers. With his top commander and childhood friend Zhou Yi by his side, he would march into Jiangdong province to realize his father's dream. Yuan Shao's warriors were initially skeptical of their new master, but after a string of victories, their contractual obligation grew into admiration for the man they dubbed the Little Conqueror. At the mere age of 20, Sun Ce was already filling the void left by his father. Helped by Zhou Yi's masterful tactics, he was quickly carving out the domain his father had dreamed of. Yet, all was not quiet on the home front. While Sun Ce carried out their father's dreams, his younger brother Sun Quan still watered the vengeful tree. For him, revenge, not empire building, was all that mattered. Still, they would have to temporarily put their differences aside. While much of Jiangdong province had been subdued, one major threat still remained: the bandit leader, White Tiger Yan. The bandit White Tiger Yan was no mere renegade. Ruling over large swathes of land in the southeast, he had begun to style himself as a king. His parody of a court attracted many warlords whom the Sun clan had dispossessed. Seeing Sun Ce's forces stretched thin after their quick victories, the tiger pounced. With tens of thousands of men, the bandit king marched on Sun Ce and Zhou Yi, forcing the little conqueror to dig in and make a stand. Doubt clouded Sun Ce's mind. With every look and word, his brother reminded him of their unfulfilled vengeance. Was Sun Quan right? Was he losing sight of the true goal? After all, Liu Biao, not this bandit, had murdered their father. Every decision seemed to take him further away from the promise they had made after escaping death at Liu Biao's hands. But what could he do? His brother could afford to be impatient. Sun Ce held the entire clan's future in his hands. He did not have that luxury. At least, not until the White Tiger was dead. White Tiger Yan's death solidified Sun Ce's position as the most powerful ruler in the region. Yet, he was not to savor his victory for long. As he routed the enemy, a stray arrow struck Sun Ce in the jaw, leaving him with a ghastly wound. He asked his healers time and time again, "How bad is it?" But they kept avoiding the question. Finally, he impatiently ordered a mirror to be brought before him. Sun Ce had always been a handsome man. He was so used to the inherent respect his looks commanded that he was unable to suppress his tears when he saw the disfigured face staring back at him. With a face like that, how can anyone look upon me and see a leader? How can I inspire men to follow if they recoil from the very sight of me? He slammed his clenched fist on the armrest. This sudden impact ripped open all the stitches in his face, causing blood to stain his robes. Sun Ce, the little conqueror, died that night from his wounds, leaving his brother Sun Quan to pick up the mantle. White Tiger Yan's death solidified Sun Ce's position as the most powerful ruler in the region. Yet, he was not to savor his victory for long. The execution of the sorcerer Yu Ji had seemed like the right decision at the time, but now it haunted him. At night, a chill would come over him, as if someone else were in the room. Someone there, and yet not quite present. He would hear the sage whispering in his ear, as if he was standing right next to him. "You sealed your own fate when you killed me, Sun Ce." One night, having barely slept for a week, Sun Ce recoiled when Yu Ji's face appeared in a mirror. Panicking, he smashed the mirror with his fist. A shard of broken glass cut deep into his flesh, causing blood to gush out onto the floor. As the world faded to gray, he thought he could hear an old man laughing in his ear. Yet when he turned to look one final time, there was no one there. Sun Ce, the little conqueror, died that night from his wounds, leaving his brother Sun Quan to pick up the mantle. The death of a family member brings a unique breed of grief. Like a great fissure, it opens up from the bottom of your soul, swallowing everything above into its black maw. Sun Quan was all too familiar with this pain. The little conqueror Sun Ce was dead. A part of Sun Quan had died with him, the part that had whispered with his brother in the night when they were young, dreaming of adventures, of days spent hunting with their father, and of travels in faraway lands. Never again would they talk, or quarrel, or laugh at some stupid joke only they understood. He was alone now, so terribly alone. Yet, he knew precisely what he had to do. While Sun Quan had often been impatient with his brother, there was no denying that Sun Ce's choices had taken the clan from obscurity and turned it into a powerhouse. Now, it was time to put the war machine to use. The vengeful tree that they had planted when their father died had borne fruit now ripe for the picking. Gathering the full strength of the Sun armies, the Sun Quan and Zhou Yu marched on Liu Biao's lands. At long last, Liu Biao would pay for his sins. As the smoke rising from his burning palace filled the evening sky, Liu Biao was brought before his captors. The wizened ruler had never been a warrior, yet he towered over the guards like a chained-up bear. Sun Quan could barely contain his rage, but the elderly giant just gave him a weary smile. "You have earned your revenge, young man. Before I leave this earth, I implore you to listen to me, just once. You look upon me as a monster for what I did to your father, but a far greater beast lurks behind me. It is the tyrant Cao Cao of whom I speak. While he refuses to say it openly, it is clear that he intends to turn all of China into his personal domain. I know of only 2 men capable of standing up to him. My subordinate Liu Bei, who is holding off the tyrant's armies in the north as we speak. And you. Seek out Liu Bei. Bring an end to Cao Cao. Not for my sake, but for the sake of your father, and for the sake of China." Sun Quan's blood boiled in his veins. Just before he bellowed the order, he gave Liu Biao a nearly imperceptible nod. Afterwards, he sent Liu Biao's decapitated head to a temple dedicated to his father. Sun Quan had gotten his revenge. Now, he had to finish what his father and brother had begun. For all of his faults, Liu Biao's prediction was right. After his passing, Cao Cao's armies swept in from the north like a plague of locusts. When Liu Bei came seeking an alliance against their common foe, Sun Quan was quick to accept. They marshaled every man they could find in a place south of the Yangtze River called Red Cliffs. While Cao Cao's vast host made camp across the water, Sun Quan and Liu Bei listened to Zhou Yu's battle plans. Yet something about his new ally made Sun Quan uneasy. Not only had Liu Bei willingly served the man who murdered his father, he was also dedicated to restoring the Han dynasty. If he succeeded, what role would remain for the Sun clan? How much of their newfound power would they need to see to fulfill Liu Bei's dreams? There was only one way forward. When Cao Cao was weakened and Liu Bei had ceased to be useful, Sun Quan would need to stab his new ally in the back. But for now, he needed Liu Bei by his side. On a hill near their camp, Zhuge Liang prayed for the wind's favor in the battle to come. Zhou Yu, deeply distrusted Liu Bei's advisor, oversaw the ritual. Should Liang fail, Zhou Yu would ensure that he did not leave the scene alive. But Zhou Yu got more than he bargained for. Zhuge Liang's ritual was cut short when Cao Cao's men made a surprise landing, catching the allies completely unawares. The enemy quickly overwhelmed the beaches and captured the Sun fire ships. Sun Quan and Liu Bei fell back and planned their counterattack. The future of China was about to be decided. "13 years prior, the Sun clan held neither land nor an army. Now, it stood as the sole victor of the greatest battle in living memory. Having overplayed his hand, Cao Cao fled north after his failed landing, with Zhou Yu's finest riders in hot pursuit. Meanwhile, Sun Quan's betrayal stunned his unsuspecting ally. Liu Bei and his dream of restoring the Han dynasty both bled out in the sands of the Yangtze. As Sun Quan seized many of the weaker western provinces, a new status quo emerged. Cao Cao reigned supreme over the rich central plains around the Yellow River, while the Sun clan consolidated its hold over the south. Neither appeared strong enough to dominate the other. Sun Quan's conquest of China would forever remain incomplete. Yet, whenever he looked back upon that fateful day over the years to come, he knew he could have done nothing differently. Liu Bei's death had prevented the emergence of a third kingdom, and heaven itself seemed pleased with his decision. As his men rummaged through Cao Cao's camp after the battle, Sun Quan stumbled upon a familiar treasure. In his haste to escape, the tyrant had left behind a great seal of jade, the very same one that Sun Jian had found in the capital all those years ago. How the Imperial Seal got into Cao Cao's hands, Sun Quan could only guess. Perhaps he took it from Yuan Shao after the Battle of Guandu. It did not matter. The seal was back where it belonged, and the Sun clan now held the mandate of heaven.